Hey guys, welcome back. I know it's been quite a while since I did one of these. It's been a really slow off season, and to be perfectly honest, I got caught up doing other things related to the site. A lot of things on the back end. I had some administrative things to take care of, but we're getting a little bit closer to spring training, and I'm gonna try and get in at least 3 or 4 more of these before I head out to Arizona for spring training. I don't have those dates quite lined up just yet. It'll probably be like it's been the last few seasons. Near mid-March is usually when I try and get out there. We'll see. Still trying to lock down the hotel and the travel itinerary. But yeah, so today was interesting. The Reds announced most of their affiliate coaching staffs yesterday. But the rest of them came out today. Not a lot of huge changes. You got Pat Kelly taking over for Delino DeShields in AAA. Delino is taking over as a roving instructor. He's going to focus on base running and bunting skills for the entire organization. He'll go travel around and work with guys at the different levels doing that. Now, Pat Kelly is moving up from Pensacola. Jody Davis is taking over for him. Ricky Gutierrez will be taking over in Daytona. Now, Gutierrez actually took over for Eli Marrero at the end of last season when Marrero took a personal leave of absence in the month of August. So he's got a little bit of experience there already. So he's coming back. He'll be taking over the job full-time this season. Luis Bolivar returns to manage once again in Dayton. This will be his second year there. He served as the hitting coach for the previous few seasons before taking over as manager in Dayton. Billings is going to see Ray Martinez come back, and then Jose Nieves is going to return and manage the team down in Arizona when they get started. Now, the team that, it's likely going to be in Greenville, Tennessee, in the Appalachian League. They did not name a coaching staff for that team yet. The holdup there, it seems, is the Reds and the local college there, Tusculum College, have not been able to come to an agreement on the ballpark, which the Greenville Astros have been playing in previously. Now, the Reds bought the rights to that franchise, so they own the rights to run that franchise in the Appalachian League. It doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be in Greenville, although I'd say it's 99.9% sure that it's going to be in Greenville. But they haven't gotten it all done yet, and it's a little bit weird because, they kind of announced that they were making that happen back in October, and we're halfway through January, and they still haven't really finalized everything. But I don't think that it's going to be a big deal. It's just a matter of, coming to an agreement with, the ballpark usage rights. So there's still going to be an announcement coming in the future as to who's going to manage there and who's not going to manage. But everybody else kind of knows where they're going. Billings may still add one more coach. Last year they had a bullpen coach. They right now do not have a fourth coach. A lot of the teams have a fourth coach that's a bench coach. That may be something that Billings adds. They may add a bullpen coach this year. Not entirely sure yet, but would not surprise me to see them add a fourth coach. Doesn't necessarily have to be a bullpen coach like it was last year. Now, as we're kind of getting closer to big league spring training, one of the things that's been popping up a lot lately is exactly how the Reds are going to handle Nick Senzel. Now, unless you've been living under a rock, you know that he's the Reds' top prospect. He's a third baseman by trade. It's where he played his final year in college at Tennessee. He's played there exclusively since the Reds drafted him in June of 2016. He was recently named the best defensive third baseman in minor league baseball by MLB Pipeline, which is Major League Baseball's official prospect website. But the Reds have a Eugenio Suarez at third base, and it seems that they're sticking to their guns that Suarez is their third baseman, and that Nick Senzel, if he wants to find playing time, is going to have to play another position. So a lot of talk has been that he's going to play or attempt to play second base. Now, when he was at Tennessee, his first position was second base. He played there as a freshman and a sophomore, and then slid over to third base. So it's not a new position for him. It's just one that he hasn't played more recently. Now, Sam Grossman, who's the assistant general manager and vice president of the Reds, was on the Hot Stove League report show earlier today, and Jim Day asked him, what's the possibilities of Nick Senzel playing somewhere around the infield? We know he plays third base, second base an option, shortstop an option. And Grossman basically said that, in a pinch, maybe Nick Senzel could play shortstop. He's a very athletic kind of guy. If you've seen him play, you know that already. But it sounds like the team is leaning a lot more towards trying to get him work at second base. I think that's going to be the position, at least early on in his professional career, or I guess I should say major league career. That's probably the likely landing spot for him. Of course, that brings up a whole nother situation where the Reds currently have Scooter Gennett slotted to play second base, who's coming off of easily the best season of his career. Hit, I believe, 26 home runs last year, and not even playing a full season. Now, he played probably 80% of a season, but that's a lot different than, playing 100% of a season. And second base is one of those positions where the Reds have a lot of depth. They've got Scooter Gennett locked in right now. You're going to slide Nick Senzel there, who, top prospect in the organization. You've got Dilson Herrera, who pretty much, as far as any scout I've talked to has said, is only a second baseman. He's the prospect that came over from the Mets in the Jay Bruce trade. When he's been healthy, he's hit everywhere he's ever been. And he's going to be 24 years old this year, and he's out of options. So you can't even send him back to the minor leagues. So what are they going to do there? Yeah, I'm not sure. It'll be really interesting to see how they handle him as well in this whole scenario. But you look down at the minor leagues, you've got a guy like Shed Long, who is a top prospect in the organization. He's a second baseman. That's the only position he's played for the last 5 years. When he was drafted in his first season and a half, he played catcher. But those days are pretty much behind him now, unless one of those emergency situations pop up. That's where Shed Long plays. That guy's hit pretty much everywhere he's ever been. His defense has improved dramatically at the position since he made the transition there. And, he's going to be a Double-A to start out the season, so he's also kind of knocking on the door to the big leagues at that position. So, you've got those guys. And then, that's not even mentioning Alex Blandino, who the team added to the 40-man roster this offseason, who his best defensive position is also second base. Now, he's not quite in the same prospect level as, Nick Senzel, Dilson Herrera, who technically he's not a prospect anymore because he's got too much big league time under his belt, but or Shed Long, but he's coming off of a nice rebound season where he performed very well in Double-A and Triple-A. So, there are a lot of options there at second base that, if Nick takes over the position, what can the Reds kind of do with the rest of those guys? Blandino is the only one among that group who's really played somewhere else among the quote-unquote minor league guys. He's pretty much played all around the infield. But Shed Long, pretty much only second base. Dilson Herrera, only second base. Scooter Gennett, the Reds have played him in the outfield a little bit, and maybe that's what they're going to have to do with some of these other guys if Nick Senzel can take over that position and do what everybody thinks that he can do. Be a difference maker kind of bat, show good defense, good base running. If he's the guy that everybody thinks he is, that position is going to be his if the Reds want to put him there. I just don't see somebody else taking that spot from him. But I don't know. It's one of the bigger storylines as far as minor league guys go in spring training, along with, Jesse Winker and how they're going to find time to play him in the corners with both Adam Duvall and Scott Schebler. One of the other things that is worth talking about minor league wise during the slow off season, so to speak, is just what Jose Siri's been able to do in the Dominican Winter League. Last year he had a huge season in Dayton, 39 game hitting streak, 24 home runs, 46 steals. Just outstanding defense in center field. Just huge season for Jose Siri. He went to the Dominican Winter League, didn't get much playing time early on. about mid-November, they started giving him at bats. Before that, they were pretty much just using him as a pinch runner, in a late inning defensive replacement. But once he got playing time, when they started giving him at bats, he really started swinging well. He hit .321 during the regular season. They're in the playoffs now. His team is, I'm not sure. I don't want to spit out their record in the playoffs and get that wrong. But he's second in the playoffs with 3 home runs. He had an RBI double earlier tonight. I mean, he's just put together just an incredible overall year from this point to this pretty much the same date last year. He was one of the guys that really stood out to me last year in spring training, and I mean, he's carried that forward and really put together an incredible, last 365 days. I wanted to say 2017, but it's now mid-January of 2018, so that wouldn't really apply there. I'm really interested to see what he can do against more advanced pitching in Daytona. While he has hit well with his team in the Dominican Winter League, that same strikeout to walk ratio issue, it's a concern. It hasn't exactly been the strongest in the Dominican Winter League right now. So are the more advanced pitchers that he's going to face this upcoming season in Daytona, is that going to be, the level where he has to really make that big adjustment, or those guys not going to be as challenging for him? Is it going to be Double-A where he needs to really take that next step? I'm not sure, but I think that as far as the bigger name prospects, and Jose Siri, I mean, if we're going to talk about true upside, superstar potential, I mean, aside from Hunter Green, he's probably the top guy in the system. I mean, if we're going to go all out and say that everything goes just right for a guy, I mean, we're talking about, a Gold Glove winning center fielder that can hit you 30 home runs and steal 50 bases. I mean, that's the kind of true upside we're talking now. Is it likely he's going to get there? No. Very, very few guys ever reach their true potential. I mean, baseball, it's a hard game to play. But what he is able to do as far as raw talent goes, I mean, he stands out among just about anybody you're going to see in minor league baseball. I mean, he's a true 5-tool player. Now, whether he can turn those 5 tools into 5 skills, left to be seen. But I think that that's one of the more important storylines to follow in the minor leagues this season, is exactly what Jose Siri can do. The Reds added him to the 40-man roster this offseason as well. So, he's got 3 options left, so they don't have to rush him, but he'll turn 22 this season. He is 22. He'll turn 23 later this season. I want to say it's about mid-season he'll turn 23. So, wouldn't surprise me if he went first half Daytona, second half Pensacola, but that's all going to depend on whether he can, perform well in the first half. But yeah, that's kind of the storyline that I'm looking towards right now. Obviously, things can change in spring training, but as I'm sitting here on, January, what is the date today? 17th. Yeah, I don't know what day it is. But yeah, here on January 17th, that's kind of the storyline that I'm more interested in than any other one during the regular season as far as the minor league guys goes right now. Yeah, that's about it as far as the minor league news goes. Get into a few other quick little things for you real quick. If you are interested, I started up a Reds podcast about 5 weeks ago. Not really minor league focused, more big league kind of stuff, although, we will dabble in minor league stuff when it's appropriate. But if you're interested in that, you can search it in pretty much any podcasting app that you use. We're on iTunes, so they all pretty much scrub data from there. So if you want to check that out, I'm joined by my co-host Brian Snow. You can find it by searching the Unnamed Reds podcast, and yeah, it's going to stay unnamed because I don't know why. I like the name of the Unnamed Reds podcast because I'm weird, but so that's something you're interested in. We're going to release it once a week during the off season. We're going to try and do it twice a week during the regular season. We'll kind of see how that goes, but that's kind of where we're at right now. As far as the podcast here on YouTube with the minor league thing. Again, I'm going to try my best to do it once every 2 weeks until I get to spring training. And there's more storylines, there's more things to talk about, there's actual baseball to watch. So I promise that I'm going to try my best to not go, a month plus without doing this again. But, things just got really busy about the start of December there. I had a lot of things going on. So I'm sorry, but I'm going to try and do better. But, thanks for listening, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. If you're not subscribed to the channel, I would appreciate if you hit the little red button there and subscribe. It'll give you updates when I publish a new video. Last year, put up 86 videos. Most of them were of the, playing variety videos of the guys playing throughout the season. There were probably 5 or 6 non-Reds prospect videos that I put up of just, big-time prospects of other organizations that I just happened to see while I was in town. But, yeah, so appreciate your time, and I'll see you again next week or in 2 weeks. See ya.